Our guest tonight is TNA star Jeff Hardy. How you doing, man?
I'm doing good, man. I can't complain.
Yeah, no one's gonna listen anyway, dude. Sorry. I'd
That's
love to
right.
say
Yeah,
we would,
yeah.
but no one's gonna listen. All right,
They
well,
wouldn't do
listen.
any good, right?
Yeah, you make your return to Impact Wrestling Friday night at 9 p.m. on Destination America when you square off against James Storm in a Six Sides of Steel match. Are there any reservations from you getting into a match that's this dangerous, especially after you suffered your most recent injury in a similar bout?
None, because there's actually a roof on this cage, so it's kind of like the lethal lockdown match. I don't know if you're familiar with the lockdown pay-per-views from the past, but there's a top on this cage, so there's no escape whatsoever. So, and there's weapons hanging from the roof. So yeah, none, man. We went in there and tore it up, as you'll see this Friday. The show's all about Hardy's revenge. You know, I've been away for over a month, and James Storm knocked me out with a cowbell, and I hit the stairs and was unconscious, and I get my revenge this Friday.
Mike Yuri?
Your willingness to do those high-risk spots and kind of throw caution to the wind is obviously a big reason why you became so popular in the first place in this business. And you're obviously still very capable of doing those big spots, as evidenced by falling on the steps against Storm. But as your career progresses, do you have any thoughts of maybe toning down your style, or do you think that that's always who you're going to be as a performer?
It's always who I'm going to be until I can't do it anymore, for sure. And you know, it's kind of a day-by-day, match-by-match process with me, you know, depending on how I'm feeling. And I'm pretty sure, you know, I know what my body's capable of doing and getting away with without getting seriously injured. And that's the main thing, is to avoid that serious injury. And I feel confident. And whatever I come up with in my mind that I can pull off, I always go for it unless somebody shuts it down. But, yeah, as long as I'm, you know, able to wrestle, I'm going to continue to be that Jeff Hardy style that everybody knows and loves until I can't.
BG?
Sure, the fall at lockdown garnered mainstream media attention, which is always a priority for any company. But how important is that for you as the performer, knowing that you create such a buzz for the product?
It doesn't even really matter to me. Matt's more the social media guy, you know, and he's the one that you know, wants to get it everywhere that is possible, you know, with social media. I'm kind of stand behind the evolution of it all. You know, I don't even tweet that much. I'll tweet a picture after a match in my face paint and say thank you Orlando or thank you wherever. And that's about all I do. I'm pretty much an antisocial when it comes to that, but that's more along Matt's territory where he cares about all that stuff. I really don't care about the impact it makes on others. I just care that it was a great match and the story is good. And this Friday on Impact, 9 o'clock, Destination America, is Hardy's Revenge, and you've got to tune in to check it out because I get so much revenge. I mean, you won't know what to do. And it's a great match, a great show, a flawless story, and TNA is doing great right now. We're going to keep on inclining.
Well, you mentioned your match with Storm on Friday night. That's a singles match, but you are still part of the Hardys and your quest for tag team gold. You and your brother have yet to win the tag team championships in TNA. What would winning the titles mean for you as an individual and as part of the Hardy Boys legacy?
It's all about the collection, you know. It's something to add to the collection. I mean, naturally, as a pro wrestler, you want to win every title you possibly can, from the lightweight championship to the tag team championship to the U.S. title to the Intercontinental title to the World Heavyweight Championship, which is the main brass ring, metaphorically they call it, to grab. And naturally, you want to win them all. I mean, to add to your collection, to look back on your career and say that you did that. And that's one thing Matt and I haven't done yet. We've had some killer matches in TNA with the Wolf and, you know, Team 3D, and we're going to continue to have those matches until we win those world titles. And it's inevitable that we are, and I'm looking forward to it.
Mike Yuri?
You and Matt getting back together as a team is something that I think a lot of fans have enjoyed, especially since you've gotten to mix it up with some of the up-and-coming tag teams like the Wolves. The Hardys were instrumental in the resurgence of tag team wrestling in the late 1990s, obviously. So do you and Matt kind of view your reunion is an opportunity to do that again and kind of restore the importance of tag team wrestling?
Kinda, yeah, I think so. And whatever that is, I've always kind of been a believer that the tag team, ranks or competitors could be just as important as the world championship. The singles matches, and I think we might see that down the road in some company to where the world tag team titles are way more important than the world heavyweight champion. I mean, I don't see nothing wrong with that, and that's one thing. Back in the day when we were just the Hardy Boys before we went our solo ways, we just went out there and had the greatest matches ever. We wanted to steal the show every night, and I feel that now with Matt. Every time we get together and have a match, I always want to mention the Young Bucks because we've wrestled them several times, and it's just been a blast getting together with those guys and putting together some killer matches and tearing it up. And even this weekend, we're wrestling Rob Van Dam and Sabu at WrestleCon out on the West Coast, and it's going to be another dream match. And it's just so cool later in life, especially after what I've been through, what Matt's been through, the dark times, and coming out of that on such a good note and being better than we've ever been in the ring at this age. I mean, it's a good feeling, and therefore the future, it's limitless as to what we can do and accomplish.
BG?
As far as years in the business, you're one of the most experienced wrestlers at TNA. Do younger wrestlers come to you for advice, and do you view yourself as a leader in TNA's locker room?
I don't. I never view myself as a leader, and I hardly. I compliment, people when I see something I really like. I say, man, that was good. Just keep doing what you're doing. That's about as much advice as you're going to get out of me. Matt's more that coach, that trainer that's going to really help a young star be better. If he ever were to open a school, I might pop in every now and then, and my big claim to fame is selling, and I take a good butt whip, and I'd be good at teaching that, but I'm not really a leader. I've never saw myself as a leader, and I don't think I ever will. But Matt's that guy for sure.
Well, let's change gears a little bit. You mentioned some of your work on the independent scene, but one thing that I absolutely love that's going on with you is Omega. You became the first Omega heavyweight champion since 2000 last month. It's very heavy in the Hardy influence in this company. What is it like creating something new and unique in the business with Omega right now?
It's extremely cool, and to capitalize on that, like Shane Helms, the Hurricane, he pretty much puts all the power and weight behind all those shows and does everything it takes to pull those off. And he was hanging out at my house one weekend, and we watched, I think, the show from Cameron. I forget what it was called, but it was when the Hardy Boys wrestled the Briscoe brothers. And wow, just from the beginning to end, it was such a good show. And all I could say was, wow, that was so pay-per-view worthy. And it was just this show at a high school, but all the way through, man, it steadily built and built until that main event, and it's even more exciting now because the possibilities are endless, man, especially now that I have this alter ego, Willow, and when I have these crazy ideas, I can run by Shane, and naturally he's going to say, oh, yeah, that's cool, because it's a new day in pro wrestling, and with Omega, man, we can pull off anything, and we will. I mean, down the road, especially with Jeff Hardy and Willow, you're going to see some really cool, I almost want to say magic because it's going to be so special, but some really cool setups for some alter ego Willow stuff going on in Omega.
MC?
Sting is a guy who you worked with pretty extensively during his time in TNA. And one of the biggest stories in professional wrestling right now is obviously Sting making his WrestleMania debut on Sunday. For you, what were you able to learn or pick up from Sting when you worked together? And also, how do you think he'll perform on the big stage?
I think it's overdue. I think it's about time, man. He gets that moment, that WrestleMania moment, because he deserves it. And I flipped over to Raw the other night. I think I saw the Wyatt promo, which I loved, but I saw the whole, I forget what it was, Vigilante versus King, the whole promo between Triple H and Sting's match, and I got goosebumps, man. I'm not even a wrestler at that point. I'm just a fan, and because Sting was one of my first, biggest influences, the night in Fayetteville, North Carolina, when I reached out and touched his shoulder, and he had the face paint on, and I didn't know why, but I loved it, and I was like, I want to be just like him, and I was like 11 years old, you know. But now to know that he's going to be in a match at WrestleMania just blows my mind, and I can't wait to see how it turns out. He's going to do great, I'm sure, because every time I was in the ring with him, it was just a blessing, you know, for me to be in there with a role model and with a guy I look up to so much. So I can't wait to see his moment in WrestleMania.
BG, final question?
Throughout your career, you competed in some of the most high-risk and groundbreaking matches. Is there a different variation or a completely new type of stipulation that you think fans will want to see in TNA or just in wrestling in general?
Stipulation as in match-wise?
Yeah, like a new type of match.
Oh, there's always room for that, man. I've got this idea that I haven't really pushed it, but I asked the guy at TNA who does all the ring work if there was a way to, like, you know, it was kind of like, I don't know if you remember back when WCW was kicking, and they were filming at Universal, matter of fact, and the ring would spin. It was on some kind of spin thing, and it would go round and round. So I got to thinking, and I asked the man one day. I said, "Man, could you put like a ring on a thing that would spin to where the ring would go round and round, and you could control the speed to where it might get faster, and you could slow it down." But it's some kind of rotating match is what I'm looking forward to pulling off in the future. Like, you would start the match, but at a certain time, it's going to start to rotate. It's going to get faster and faster, but then it will stop. But to see if you can pull off spots like while a ring's rotating, just to me would be awesome in itself. So, yeah, man, anything's possible if people are willing to attempt to pull it off, to get over that fear of not trying. So, yeah, I'm open for anything.
A huge thanks to Jeff Hardy for coming on the show tonight. Catch him every Friday night, 9 p.m. on Impact Wrestling on Destination America. Jeff, tell the fans how they can show their support for you on Twitter and where they can purchase your merchandise.
I have no merchandise to purchase other than at TNAshop.com. You know, all my merchandise is purchased through TNA. And other than that, this Friday night's a Impact you do not want to miss. So Destination America, 9 o'clock, Impact Wrestling, Jeff Hardy versus James Storm. The show is all about Hardy's revenge, and you won't regret the fact that you took time to watch it.
Another huge thanks, Jeff. Good luck on Friday, man.
Thank you, man.